Hi, Pine Grove Panthers. We're back with Chapter 5 of Secret Explorers and the Lost Whales. So last we read there was one calf missing, and it looks like we're about halfway through the book. So let's find out. Chapter 5, Deep Dark Waters. The rest of the pod was already moving on. Connor wished he could call out to them, "Turn around! You've left a calf behind." "We'll have to backtrack," he said. "Maybe the calf is swimming behind the rest of the pod." He steered the Beagle back the way they had come. Meanwhile, Roshni carefully watched the sonar screen for any sign of the lost calf. Connor kept the Beagle just under the water's surface so they could use the periscope. The calf might come up to breathe, and then they'd spot it. "Poor little thing," Roshni murmured. "Don't worry, baby whale. We're coming to find you." Connor said, "It may be a baby, but it's about 20 feet long. We ought to see it soon." Roshni bent over the sonar screen. Connor peered out through the Beagle's windows. He saw darting fish and scraps of seaweed tumbling past, but no whale calf. To make matters worse, the sun was setting and the sea was growing darker. Soon it would be too dark to see without lights. Suddenly, the Beagle pitched sideways and a horrific sound of scraping metal ripped through the cabin. Then came a sharp snapping noise. Something fell through the water, past the window, trailing bubbles. The Beagle let out a babble of panicked bleeps. Roshni yelled and looked up from the screen. "What happened?" "We hit something." Connor grabbed the controls and brought the Beagle down away from the surface. He smacked his forehead with his palm. "I was looking out the window, you were checking the sonar, and neither of us was steering." "Sorry, Beagle." The Beagle made a mournful noise, like a whining dog. Connor felt horrible. He looked up at the hole of the boat they'd clipped, dreading what he might see. To his relief, it wasn't holed. That could have been a total disaster. Imagine sinking a boat and losing a whale calf. "I think we might be okay," he said. "We took a nasty knock, but nothing's broken, right?" Roshni winced and showed him the sonar screen. It was completely blank. With growing alarm, Connor checked the rest of the Beagle's instruments. The screens had gone dark on a whole row of panels. "We've lost all our navigation systems," he said. "But how?" Roshni said, "Remember that snapping noise and the thing that fell past the window? I think that was the navigation module. It must have broken off completely when we hit the boat." Connor felt cold horror creeping through his whole body. Without the Beagle's special navigation module, they couldn't work the sonar or the sat-nav system. He was counting on that to find the missing calf. And even if they found the calf without it, how on earth would they find the rest of the pod? "We've got to get it back," he said. He tilted the Beagle's nose until it was pointing downward, then fired the engines. They churned up the water and the Beagle shot down into the darkness. The controls vibrated in Connor's hands, but he held the sub steady. No more collisions, he promised himself. There Connor is, going deeper and deeper into the water. "I can see it," cried Roshni. Sure enough, the broken off navigation module was ahead of them, turning over and over as it fell through the water. It looked like half a soccer ball with wires and cables hanging out from it. Connor winced as he remembered seeing it attached to the top of the cockpit. He hoped they'd be able to reattach it. There's the navigation module. The next moment, it vanished from sight, swallowed up in the darkness. The water outside the sub was as black as the bottom of a well. The Beagle made a serious sounding bleep. Connor knew that the deeper they dived, the higher the water pressure. Now it would be closing on the Beagle like a clenching fist. At the same time, it was getting colder and colder. Connor shivered. He checked the depth gauge and saw they were nearly at the bottom of the ocean. Connor slowed the Beagle to a stop and looked around. "Shouldn't we turn on the headlights?" asked Roshni. "Not yet," Connor said. "Look." Strange lights were glowing in the darkness. Roshni stared at them. "What are they?" "That one there is an Atolla jellyfish," Connor said, pointing out a blue flashing light. "It flashes when it's under attack. And that steady glow, that's an anglerfish. The light lures smaller fish in so it can eat them." Look at the anglerfish. That is one crazy looking fish. Connor switched. "I've never seen anything like it," Roshni said. Connor switched the headlights on and lit up the anglerfish's whole body. Beneath the pretty light was a ghoulish face and a mouth full of pointed teeth. Roshni shuddered. The light's called bioluminescence, Connor explained. It's created by a chemical reaction. Wow. Roshni glanced up at a billowy shape that was drifting by overhead. What's that one? Connor wasn't sure what the pale creature might be. Some kind of jellyfish, I think. It's coming this way. Roshni's face fell. Oh dear, I think this is a member of the species Plasticus bagus. Connor grimaced in disgust. Yeah, he said. The mysterious jellyfish was nothing but a supermarket plastic bag swept along by the undersea currents. It sickened him to think of plastic pollution down here amongst these wonderful ocean creatures. Roshni said, I'll swim out and get it. She went to put her wetsuit back on, but Connor quickly stopped her. No! What's wrong? Connor pointed out the water pressure gauge. We can't go out there. At this depth, the pressure could crush us. But they couldn't just leave the plastic bag on the ocean floor. They began exploring the Beagle's cockpit in the hope of finding something that might help. Aha! Connor said. The grabber arm. We can use that. He found the switch and turned it on. A long robotic arm slid out from the Beagle's underside. Connor moved it back and forth and tested the grabber. How is it? Roshni asked. Easier to use than the claw machines at the arcade, Connor joked. As the plastic bag drifted back in their direction, Connor used the robotic arm to quickly snatch it up. The Beagle helpfully opened up a storage compartment, and Connor stowed the bag inside. Scientists use arms just like this on research subs, he told Roshni. They can take samples from the seabed or recover items from sunken ships. There's Connor using the grabber arm. And we can use it to get the navigation module back, Roshni burst out. Brilliant idea, Connor said, but where is it? In the excitement of seeing the luminous sea creatures, they'd lost track of the module. Now they couldn't see it anywhere. Connor's stomach tightened into a knot. If they didn't find the module, it would pollute the water, just like the plastic bag. We've got to find it, Connor said. If we don't, we'll never find the calf and the rest of the whale pod. All right, you guys, that's the end of chapter 5. The next chapter is chapter 6, called Under Pressure.